Welcome to Section 5 of the Birth to 3 program orientation. Section 5 addresses Individualized Family Service Plan development, often referred to as the IFSP. At the conclusion of Section 5, you will be able to identify the required process and parts of the IFSP. Recognize the connection between assessment of the child's functioning within natural environments and the development of functional IFSP outcomes, and understand and identify functional and meaningful IFSP outcomes. As a way to keep you engaged in this learning experience, we have built-in knowledge checks. A link to the knowledge check form will be made available in the chat, so you can use this along the way. If you have two screens, it may be helpful to have the form opened up on a second screen. If not, simply minimize and maximize your screen when it is time for the knowledge checks. Please note that many of the questions are required and will need to be answered before you submit the form. You will be able to see and save your results after submission. Within this form, you can capture both key takeaways as well as any questions you have at the end of a section. The IFSP has two main purposes: to set reasonable developmental outcomes for the child and family, and to state the services the program will coordinate and provide to the child and family. You might like to refer to the handouts, IFSP packet, and the companion, Instructions for Completing the IFSP. Let's learn more about the IFSP according to Part C Regulation 303.20. The Part C regulation provides a definition of the IFSP. The Individualized Family Service Plan is a written plan for providing early intervention services to an infant or toddler with a disability and their family. The IFSP must be based upon the evaluation and assessment results as they relate to enhancing the development of the child. The IFSP must include specific content, the name of the service coordinator responsible for coordinating the early intervention services and documenting planned communication with other agencies or persons, information about the child's developmental status, including a statement of the child's physical, which is to also address their vision, hearing, and health status, cognition, communication, adaptive, and social and emotional development. This information comes from the child's evaluation and assessment. Family information, including a statement of the family's resources, priorities, and concerns related to enhancing the development of their child. This information is gathered through the family assessment process. The IFSP must include a statement of the criteria, procedures, and timelines to be used to determine the degree to which progress on their outcome is being made and whether revisions or modifications are needed. The IFSP must include identification of the specific early intervention services necessary to meet the unique needs of the child and family to achieve the expected outcomes. To the extent appropriate, the IFSP must also identify medical and other services that the child and family needs or is receiving through other sources, but that are neither required nor funded by the program. The IFSP must include a transition plan, identifying steps and services to support the smooth transition of the child to preschool services under Part B, if potentially eligible, or to other appropriate services when the child is no longer eligible for the Birth to 3 program. It may also include transitions the child and family may be experiencing, such as moving to a new neighborhood or community. The IFSP must be developed using specific procedures. The required procedures include ensuring that meetings are conducted in settings and at times that are convenient to the family, inviting the parents in writing to the IFSP meeting. The program may not limit or deny the provision of services because the parent refuses to consent to one or more of the services offered. taking measures to ensure that the parents understand the process or steps completed as part of the IFSP meeting, providing prior written notice for the decisions made and the obtaining of parental consent, and providing a copy of the IFSP to the parents at no cost after each IFSP meeting. The IFSP must be implemented as soon as possible following parental consent. In Wisconsin, as soon as possible has been defined as within 30 days of the signed IFSP. We've already covered child and family assessment in a previous section. The child information gathered during assessments, along with the family assessment information, leads to the development of the IFSP, and specifically the IFSP outcomes. In addition to identifying family resources, priorities, and concerns, the assessment process gathers information about the family's daily routines, activities, community, and relationships, as well as the child's interests. This information provides a context for the practitioner and family to embed interventions and learning opportunities into the child and family's natural learning environment. It also leads to IFSP outcomes that are participation-based, individualized, functional, cross-discipline, and contextualized. There are specific IFSP team members who are required to participate in the initial and annual IFSP meeting. In addition, support individuals or advocates are invited to attend. Those required to participate include the parent or parents of the child, other family members if feasible, an advocate or person outside the family if requested by the parent, the service coordinator, person or persons directly involved in conducting the evaluations and assessments, and those who will be providing early intervention services to the child and family as appropriate. Let's check your knowledge about the IFSP procedures we've just covered. Fill in the blanks with the missing words. Use your knowledge check form to record your answers. When developing IFSP outcomes, they come from the results of your child and family assessment and match the individual family's concerns. The Early Childhood Technical Assistance Center provides criteria for high-quality, participation-based IFSP outcomes. These criteria include: the outcome is necessary and functional for the child and family's life. The outcome reflects real-life contextualized settings. The outcome crosses developmental domains and is discipline-free. This means that they reflect the integrated nature of child development, that you can see how more than one developmental domain is at play. The outcome is jargon-free, clear, and simple in nature. The outcome emphasizes the positive, what you want the child to be doing, not the negative, what you'd like the child to stop doing. The outcome uses active words rather than passive ones. So, what the child looks like when engaged and participating rather than simply tolerating something being done to him or her. The resource Enhancing Recognition of High-Quality Functional IFSP Outcomes is provided for your reference and gives much more information and the reasoning behind the criteria. This resource also includes what we like to call the placemat activity that you can use with your team. It provides additional outcome statements that you can put in the middle of the placemat, and the different criteria surround the statement. You then consider which criteria are present or missing. You can also put your own IFSP outcome statements to the test. This is a great way to extend your learning. Which criteria of high-quality, participation-based IFSP outcomes that we just reviewed are present in the following statement? Record your answers on your knowledge check form. Davis will talk more and pronounce words better. What about this outcome statement? Continue to record your answers on your knowledge check form. Robin will stop having tantrums at separation from her primary caregiver when going to childcare. And here's one more. Marcus will play in the backyard, getting around on his own using his walker. In addition to the criteria for participation-based IFSP outcomes, you are also required to determine and include a few additional elements relating to your results, or more commonly referred to, outcomes. Criteria, procedures, and timelines are used to determine how progress is being made and whether revisions or modifications to the outcomes are necessary. This is captured within the IFSP document outcome pages. For each early intervention service listed on the IFSP, the following must be included. Length, how long each visit or service will last. Duration, when the service will end. Frequency, how often the service will be provided or the number of visits to be provided within a given time frame. Intensity, if the service is to be provided individually, one child and family, or in a group setting. Method, how the service will be provided. Some examples include face-to-face visit, joint visit, team meeting, and phone call. Projected dates, when the first visit or service is expected to start. And funding source, how the service will be paid for. Different services may have different funding sources, but might include private insurance, Medicaid, parental cost share, or County Birth to 3 program funds. The setting where each service will be provided is also required on the IFSP. The appropriate setting for each service is determined by the IFSP team and is consistent with natural environment requirements and is based upon the child's expected outcomes. Each IFSP must also include a statement that early intervention services will be provided in the natural environment for that child to the maximum extent appropriate. If a service is not provided in the natural environment, the IFSP must include a justification for why it will not. The justification includes a plan for providing the service in the natural environment as soon as possible. The IFSP must also include a transition plan. The transition page of the IFSP identifies the steps and services to support a smooth transition for the child. The transition plan supports the child and family to pursue services after age 3, such as services under Part B if the child is potentially eligible, or other appropriate services such as Head Start or another preschool program. Additional services while or after participating in the Birth to 3 program, and strategies for other transitions the child and family may experience while enrolled in the Birth to 3 program, such as moving to a new home or neighborhood, switching childcares, etc. All of these types of transitions are supported by an individualized plan within the IFSP. We will be going into much more detail about transition in the final section. The Part C Regulation 303.343 outlines the requirements for timeliness of review of the IFSP. The initial IFSP is to be developed within 45 days of the referral to the Birth to 3 program. The purpose of the IFSP document is to capture the written plan for providing early intervention services to an infant or toddler with a disability and their family. The periodic review of the IFSP is required at least every 6 months, but may occur more frequently if warranted or requested by the family. The purpose of a periodic review is to determine the degree of progress that is being made toward achieving the outcomes identified in the IFSP and whether modification or revision of the IFSP is necessary. The annual review of the IFSP is to evaluate the plan. It provides the IFSP team a formal opportunity to revisit the IFSP and revise it, as appropriate, using current assessments and other information that's important about the child and family, and to determine what early intervention services are needed. Ongoing assessment throughout the child's participation in the program informs the review and evaluation of the IFSP and informs what next step the practitioner and parents will focus on. Let's check your knowledge. See if you can recall the criteria for high-quality, participation-based IFSP outcomes. Match the correct element to the criteria. Go to your knowledge check form to record your answers. Now, see if you can match the time frames with the types of IFSP. This too is on your knowledge check form. Finally, select the 2 general purposes of the Individualized Family Service Plan. Here is a list of questions to consider with your team as you think about your own Birth to 3 program. A link to these questions is available in the chat for you to reference.